Hi, and welcome to the Woodruff Health Sciences Center Library's Guide on JSTOR. JSTOR is a database that we subscribe to here at the library, and it gives you access to a lot of articles that you might not find on other platforms like PubMed. So to access JSTOR, you're going to click on Health Databases. If you stick with this site, it's going to just show you results on the physical website itself. But you want to access our list of health databases. So you're going to type in JSTOR and then click Search and click on the JSTOR link in our databases list. It might ask you to log in with your NetID and password, and then it'll bring you to JSTOR. So JSTOR has a lot of really great content, especially for humanities. It's very helpful for things like medical humanities, psychology, sociology, just a lot of things that you might not find on CINAHL or PubMed or other databases. So let's just do a basic search. I'm going to go into the advanced search, and I'd recommend you use the advanced search, but just to show you what the basic search looks like, let's go ahead and type in something like chronic illness. And you'll see we have 136,000 results. That's a lot of results, and I don't know about you, but I don't want to go through all of those myself. You can filter down on the side here, but in my opinion, this search is way too broad, and so it's probably going to be a lot easier to just make a more advanced search to begin with. So let's click on the advanced search button. And this advanced search is broken down into terms. Usually every clinical question or every search has to do with multiple different terms being combined. So let's say, for example, we're trying to find articles about chronic illness and how alternative therapies can affect mental health in people with chronic illnesses. So I'm going to break down that clinical query into three categories. First, chronic illness. Now you might notice that I'm using quotes at the ends of this phrase. And the reason why I'm doing that is I want the articles to only mention the phrase chronic illness. If you don't put quotation marks, you might find articles that just mention the word chronic or just might mention the word illness. And that's not what we want here. So then you can also do another search term, which let's say alternative therapy. So I'm going to be more specific and put in something like music therapy. And then we use the Boolean operator or to connect these terms together. So you're going to find articles now that have both the term chronic illness and music therapy in the same article. And let's do art therapy, let's say. And then we can further refine our search by adding another term. So we're looking at the impacts on mental health. So let's put in mental health. And again, I'm going to use quotations here. We can also do something like mental well-being because different articles call mental health different things. So it's important to do that beforehand. You can filter before searching, but I like to search first and then filter later. You can also select an access type. I recommend selecting everything because even if we don't have access to an article through JSTOR, we might still have access to it in another way. So now we have 190 results, which is a lot more manageable than the 130 something thousand we had before. So if you are only looking for journal articles, well, that's an easy filter. You can also filter by English. In this context, it's not a big deal, but you can also filter down by subject heading if you wanted to. If you're going to do this, be very careful because there are some subject headings that might be applicable to what you're doing, and you might miss them if you're not reading correctly, and so you might miss out on some articles. So if it's something like 60 results, I would just manually look through them, but you can do that. So you can see here you can download the article and it'll bring you to view the article or download it. You can also save it if you register for a JSTOR account. And a really cool feature that this has is a citation tool. So you can just copy paste the APA format or whatever format you want, or you can export it to your EndNote library, which is great. Now let's say that you want an article that we just don't have. Let me see if I can find one. we have a lot of things. Let me, oh, here we go. Great. So if you see this download button that's grayed out, that means that we don't subscribe to this content in JSTOR. That doesn't necessarily mean that we don't have it. So if you click on the actual article itself, you'll see this institution does not have access to this book on JSTOR. You may have other access options through Emory University Libraries. Click on that, and it'll bring you directly to our catalog, and it'll show you where it is in all of the databases we subscribe to. So even though we don't subscribe to it in something like JSTOR, we do subscribe to it in EBSCO, for example. So just because, again, we don't have it does not mean that you can't find it at all. And even if we don't have full text availability somewhere, you can file an interlibrary loan request and we can go ahead and get it to you that way. So there's a lot of options. Again, that's why I recommend filtering down with the everything filter on JSTOR instead of just content I can access. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how you use JSTOR.